We are on and recording. And Sam, I know a lot of people are planning on coming on. So if you want to dive in, because I know you've got a busy day, we've got a leader call at 1. But thank you so much for doing this. You guys, to give you a little, for those of you who end up watching this recording, to give you a little background, obviously a lot of us have been leaders and we've been doing this for a very long time, but there was obviously some major changes that have happened with our comp plan and with the products that we're sharing. We've obviously got 3 different brands to share now. And I think a lot of us have been just kind of scrambling to catch up, but Sam and her team are kind of doing everything right. They've really hit the ground running. They have embraced sponsoring and growing. They're building leaders. They're launching new stylists strong. If I go through my Jumpstart report, so many of the brand new stylists that are kicking booty are from your downline. So I know I have got a lot to learn from you, and I'm very grateful that you are willing to do this with us.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking, and I'm honored and happy to share. I hope I have something helpful. So I honestly just thought, well, I have no choice but to get to work. Like, I need to bring money home. We have a second kid going to college. It's no longer $2,000 a month. It's now $5,000 a month. And last year was a bit of a struggle. Like, I was like, okay, well, I just paid the $2,000 for that tuition, and now there's nothing left for me. So I was like, what am I gonna do? That used to be my play money. So anyway, I'm like, all right, what do we all I can do is keep staying the course and doing what seems to make the most sense to make money. So I will tell you, I came into this year with a new comp plan in January, and was fortunate to have had some new people sign up back in October and November and had that rolling volume. So I was able to earn executive coach right off the bat. But I honestly didn't hit it again. I didn't hit it for February, March, April. And I wasn't sure, like, where am I going to sponsor someone? I don't know about this. I was feeling anxious about it. I had a little bit of insight that the new sign-on information was coming, and I didn't really want to sign up without that. Like, I was literally giving them a choice. Like, you could sign up now, or you could sign up when it's like this. Hey, Shelly. So for me, I'm not sure that there was necessarily a turning point other than let's just put our nose down and get to work. And it looked like, how do we book more virtual shows, and how do we bring more people along with us? And so you're building a better client base. So I don't think we necessarily did anything different there. The new sign-on sponsoring special, it's not a special, but the fact that it is, you get a $99 sign-on and $100 coupon or $200 coupon, you get $1,000 in product. It's just simple enough for people to understand. But what's really helped, I think I've signed on 4 or 5 people since that launched it launched in May, so May, June, July. What has really helped, has been amazing to me, is their success in starting by giving them a virtual script, and then their success in sharing. But for example, I have product credits in my account, which I feel like I never had before. Like, I have $766 in product credits from sponsoring and growing a team, which before my product credits came either from coupons or for hosting my own show. The fact that, somebody sold 1,000 in product and I got 100, or they sold 3,000 in product and I got another 300. And I've been using these product credits, but I'm earning them faster than I have before. And these new reps, they're super excited and they're understanding the system and they're getting paid more. So when I started seeing the rewards there, it definitely made it easier and gave me more confidence to sponsor. I will tell you, there's still some people, still 50%, who, have not launched strong. But I feel very confident about sponsoring now that I've done it and I see their success story and I see these product credits, and that's kind of a nice little dangling perk in front of me. I was a little hesitant to even go back and look at year over year because I wasn't sure it would be strong or any better. And last July was not very good. So I didn't want to go back and be like, oh, it might be the same. But I decided to kind of eat the frog and look at it the other morning. And when I did, I was really kind of blown away. I'd had, I would say, some confidence in the comp plan overall, because when people would express concern to me, I would, would ask some more questions, what they meant by it. And usually I found that the information they were conveying to me was wrong. And I could go back to the basics of, what was broken before, what could we improve, what are we changing? And I'm like, all right, do you have more product to sell now? Yes. Okay, that's a good thing. Do you, did they raise commissions overall? Yes. Okay, that's a good thing. Did they increase the rewards for sponsoring? Yes. Okay, that's a good thing. Well, that's our job, is to sell product, right? And to sponsor and bring people on. And if they've raised it all, I felt pretty confident it should work. So I did go in and do a breakdown of my own numbers, and feel free to interrupt me if I'm talking too fast or you want me to clarify something. But last year, month end versus, we still have 2.5 days left. Last year, I sold about $1,000 more than I have so far this month. Last year, I was sitting at associate director, and really, honestly, not much of a hope changing from there. This year, at executive, all year, I'm at the highest level of the company. I don't have to worry about going for a higher level. There are rewards based on volume, but I don't have to worry about earning another level. And I really love that. Also sitting at AD last year, I didn't have the hope that I was going to promote people and keep people at executive levels last year. I remember Barbara saying to me, like, I'm going to be an AD forever, right? She did not feel like she was going to change. Well, now she's an executive coach and paid that like month after month. And Amy's now an executive coach. Like, I don't think I thought a year ago that I'd have other leaders at the top of the company comp plan with me. So that's really exciting. Hi, Avril. So I love the fact that we're there, don't have to worry about that anymore, that we can just focus on volume. Last year in July, I'll share with you, my earnings were $3,694. I will also tell you that was a $35,000 month for us. And that was hard to swallow. Like, we'd been at in years past. But what had happened over the years is those leaders were stepping down or stepping away, or it wasn't easy to do it again type thing. So we were at 1/10 of a volume from a high month. So it did not feel great. So when I look back on it, I'm like, thank goodness Stella and Dot looked at last July and month after that, month before that, and said, we need to do something. We need to do it fast, right? So this July, we are going for a 75,000 volume. Right now, we're at right about close to 70,000. So we have another 5,000 or so to do, 6,000 to do in the next day or 2 days, 2.5 days. But that's almost, I can't even do my math. That's almost double the volume. So that also means to me there's a lot more people on my team getting paid more because I've sold less. So the volume's going to them, not to me, right? So there are people on my team who are happier. And I also, once I hit another order, I'll get a $250 cash bonus for being at a higher commission rate. Once we hit 75,000, I'll get another $250 bonus, putting me at over 6,000 for the month. I haven't left my house, you guys. Like, I haven't worked that hard. So, and it's also July and a pandemic. So I just think that those numbers are impressive. Would I rather them have another zero in there? Sure. But I feel like we're tracking in a really strong, really good direction. So I also broke down like line levels, line 1 compared to last year and this year. This year, my line 1 has sold a couple thousand more. My line 2 has sold 5,000 more. My line 3 has sold 5,000 more. And last year I had a line 4 that was accounting for it, but I got paid 0 on that. So when I broke it down, so I got a $100 promotion bonus for a girl hitting squad coach. I've got an extra 10% bonus on my new gals, so an extra $347 in commissions on just the new volume. So right there is $450 I've been paid just for helping coach them to success, not including the regular commissions. The one percentage area that is down is on my first line, right? Last year, I would have gotten paid 12% on my first line versus 8% this year. So yes, there is a dip there. And I think that causes panic, but they're selling more, right? So I would rather get less of more than more of less. So, but here's where you make up for it. Ideally, with a healthy and growing team, my line 2 should be bigger than my line 1, and my line 3 should be bigger than my line 2 and line 1 combined, right? Well, last year I made 6% on my line 2. Now I make 8%. So a 2% bonus, again, on bigger volume, right? And then last year on my line 3, I made 2%. This year I make 8%. No, sorry, 4%. So again, double, but that 4% should be on a much larger number on a healthy growing team. Does that make sense? So the numbers have moved around, but I would personally rather get paid more on the lower levels like this comp plan has, because those are the areas that have the higher volume, right? Because there's more people there, again, with healthy growth. And the fact that people are selling, they're going to be sponsoring more. So I think that is all pretty exciting. I posted in the executive group like a big thank you to home office when I was excited about my numbers. And a lot of people responded back with, I agree, I agree, I agree. And Barbara texted me and said, I call bullshit. I'm like, okay. So I was taking a shower and I'm like panicking, going, I better go check her numbers and I better go make sure that I'm not just thinking about myself. And so I went down and I ran her numbers, and then I called her and I said, okay, I'm going to walk through this with you, but you have to agree with me. You know, Barbara, she's like, Barbara, are you on this call? I'm going to check, because I started telling this on the leader the other day, and I could see these messages popping up. She was like, shut up, Sam. Shut up, Sam. So anyway, so a year ago for Barbara, she was an associate director and felt stuck there. She's now an executive coach. Paid at is so much more important than a title, always. She agreed it was easier to be an executive coach than it was to promote from associate director. This year she has sold, she's getting ready to cross 10,000. Last year she sold 7,600. So she's sold more this year. And she agreed that having Ever and Keep has been a huge difference maker in her overall volume, what she's been able to sell. Last year, she was mostly in-home and hated the idea of online shows. She recently said she might not ever go back to in-home. She likes online and likes the volume she's getting from her VIP group. Speaking of which, last year, she had just moved back from 2 years in California and needed to relaunch her business, and decided to start focusing on her VIP group, which she felt was kind of like flat. So I kind of coached her a bit through that. And her 10,000 this month in volume has come 100% from that VIP group, because she has not had any virtual shows this month. She has rocked that. So, right. So she agreed that her volume was better this year versus last year. And she liked that we had more product. This is last week's numbers, but last week she was $1,500 more in earnings than she was last year at this time. I think it's gone up even more. And by the way, when I looked at that, her earnings were higher than my earnings last week, right? Isn't that cool? It's not me making more because she's making more. She's making more because she's doing more. She's sold more than I have, right? Last year, Amy was on her second line. This year, Amy has moved to her first line. So she was happier about that with a roll up. And she was a little concerned that meant she wasn't getting paid something. I was like, no, you're still getting paid on your first line. You aren't getting sponsored volume there, which you need from a promotion standpoint, but you can do that by yourself and with the people you've sponsored. And she has been lifting more people to that $5,000 level. She's got another top seller with Heather Moore, for example. So happier having Amy on her first line, for example. Last year, she was not Style Council Elite. This year, she's Style Council Elite, right? Which has its perks. She was a little bit in a tiff about what some of the perks are. I'm like, did you get $1,000 in free product for hitting it? She said yes. I'm like, did you end up with a pacing group you wanted to work with? She said yes. I'm like, all right, so what's wrong with being in Style Council Elite? So she decided she loved all of that. We broke down her first line, second line, and third line. And then we also went through, all right, there was some concern of like, well, if you get paid 40% when you sell 10,000, which is a good problem to have, right? Well, it's not really $4,000, because if you sell some sale items or if you sell some covet, it's at a lower rate. I'm like, okay, but it's still a higher rate. 40% is better than 35% where it was, right? So she agreed it was better there. But for the other people on her team that can now hit a bonus of 30% at 2,500, that's sorry, where are my numbers? Okay, it was we're now at 30% at 2,500, and at 5,000 it was 32%. It's now 35%, and it's now 40% at 10,000. So there is lower down, more people can reach the 2,500 and 5,000, get those pay bumps, keeping them more interested and more focused on their business. So she was thrilled about that. There used to be you got $100 product credit when you hit stellar seller, 5,000 in a month, which would have looked like 1,200 a year. Well, now you get $100 product credit when you hit 1,000, so you still have that 1,200. There are more reps on our team that can get that $100 product credit, right? Because they hit 1,000 versus 5,000, so more people are getting money. She's now on advisory council, which gets her $300 in product credit 4 times a year, $1,200, right, in product there. Plus, I was sharing with you the benefits of sponsoring and sitting here with $766 in sponsoring bonus credits after even having used some. And a quick little celebration. She just hit $700,000 in sales. But so we walked through it. I'm like, just show me the negative. And do you know what she had to say to me at the end? You're right, Sam. You're right. I'm like, I know. All right, so what questions do y'all have?
With her, I need to start printing out my things too, because it's so funny. It's so interesting the way you were breaking it down.
So we went to coffee yesterday morning with Lauren Ziegler, and she said, "Oh, I'm not looking at my numbers. She's like, I'm happy with where I am, I guess, but my numbers aren't better. She was like, it's not better. She messaged me yesterday afternoon. She went and looked at her numbers. Her pay is 1.5 times more than it was last July.
That's awesome.
Sometimes you think it's worse than it is, right?
Yeah.
You forget the things that were pain points a year ago that are no longer pain points.
Yeah. And I love the post you did on the executive page the other day about, how this new comp plan has worked for you. And this is obviously exactly what they had in mind, really pay the power sellers more for their effort. For a long time, power sellers were not rewarded as probably much as they should have been. And then obviously sponsoring, but we never really had as much of an incentive to sponsors as we do now. What can you tell me two things that a lot of us are struggling with? One, especially right now with the pandemic happening, how are you guys growing your sponsoring numbers? Like, what are the main methods and tactics and daily actions you're taking to grow your sponsoring numbers? And 2, how are you launching these new stylists so strong so that they're all having 1,000, 2,000 in sales? Like you mentioned the virtual,
right.
But if you could give us a brief, like exactly what you're doing to help these women get off to a great start, that'd be awesome.
I'm not sure we're doing anything great. We're just doing stuff, which sometimes it is just taking action. We did do a sponsoring school where we were teaching people about sponsoring, the basics. And we did that just inside of a group, and people showed up. I'm not sure that they necessarily started sponsoring from there. We did do a group where they could bring their potentials, and I'm not sure, there's some type of summer distraction, probably mostly media related, that's kept them not from sponsoring. So I will not tell you that our overall team is sponsoring right now. Barbara was in a challenge with one of her pacing groups that encouraged sponsoring. Amy has been just upping the bar on sponsoring too. And I honestly just wanted to get back to paid ad executive. I was like, all right, I can get behind 1,000 in product. I can help, show them what I'm doing. So I don't think we have sponsoring going on across the board. I think there's some. Heather Moore just sponsored someone. So it's not that we aren't trying things and trying to have the conversation more. If anything, I just look at it and go, am I putting myself up there and open for business? Like, do they know what I do so they could say, I want to do what you do? Like, and am I putting it forward that I'm having a good time doing it? So, and then I constantly go back to them with, you could do this too, right? So, and I don't really hear the no. I just keep circling back with like, my arms are still open. Like, when are you going to sign on? So two of the gals that just hit, 1,000 or 3,000 in sales, I had been talking to for years. So it's not like they're brand new into this. I was a little overwhelmed by the virtual shows and the Facebook groups, and you all know I like a Facebook group. But when I went in and there were all these tabs and all this information, like the most I was doing it was going in and stealing some photos. Like I didn't feel like I could go in and follow a script, and much less tell someone else to. Like I could direct people there, but I wasn't confident they had something simple, easy. So I went back to what we used to do, a little Evernote with that, information you could share. I created a super basic script of, who I am, who Stella and Dot is, and our essentials, because we were a couple months ago talking about the top 10 bags, top 10 earrings, top 10 bracelets. And it's legit a focus on the Renegade bracelet, the Madison hoops, and a couple basic things. I created a basic script and I started doing my shows that way for an hour, which made them somewhat easy to book. And then people were in the shows or like, for example, Dawn, who signed up and already hit squad coach, she had 90 some people coming and they were already ready to shop and excited. And I just messaged her. I'm like, do you want to make the show tonight yours? And she's like, okay, what do I need to do? After asking her 30 other times. And now she's so thankful she's doing it. So, and then she has gone on to do 1, 2, or 3 shows a week with exactly the same script. Like I just gave her the script. She goes and she pulls from the Evernote. She does it. It even says how to ask for the show. It's super basic words. Like it's not creative. There's nothing all that different about it. But I wanted to give them one thing that they could duplicate today. Like they could just go out and do.
And this is on their VIP page, or is this on a group that they've created for their own trunk show or like virtual show? Where is this script going? Where are they posting this?
I have it pinned to the top of our team page, along with a welcome Evernote letter, but it's a script that they can keep, they can save to their documents, and then they can go and book virtual events in Facebook and then just have everything in one spot. Like they don't have to go out and recreate anything. So it tells them exactly what to do. And I have other team members, not just new gals, who are using it. And it's honestly just simple. The reality is you need to get people who will go click on your website. And then at that point, it's up to Stella and Dot to have the product that entices them to come in and shop. But of course, one of my last posts is, if you like what you saw here, you can do what I do. Here, do you want $1,000 in product for $298? So, and a gal signed up the other night because of that, right? And of course, she's like, well, I think I might just be a hobbyist. I'm like, that's exactly what we're looking for. So here's a script. Here's the words to say to book your first couple. You can follow along inside of one of mine. It's just more so trying to keep it really simple. I'd had the conversation with Megan Maloney of, I think these Facebook groups are too hard to go find the information. And she's like, well, what do you mean? Like I could book a virtual show for tomorrow and I could just go create content. I'm like, that's because you know everything. I can do the same because I know everything. But if I'm brand new, I don't know what to start or what to say. I don't know how to go navigate through one of those Facebook groups, which is why I was like, I just need to make this so super simple. So honestly, I think it's probably the simplified version of what we all already know.
And are they doing it though, when they're doing their launch? Have they already created a VIP page that they're doing these posts on? Are they doing it through like a group event or like, like a group? Like where are they? Your new stylists, they've got those great scripts, super easy. Where are they posting it?
So Dawn was my first one, right? Back on May 1st when the new specials launched, and I actually had her show booked for that night. So we just made that event her show, and then it became her VIP group, right? And she's booked all of her friends from there. So now she uses that as her VIP group. So if it's a hostess flip, they use that VIP group. Jess Berry, who just hit her quick start in 10 days with over 1,000 in sales, we had done a show for her recently, but she signed up afterwards and she wanted to make it, I would suggest making these groups public. So you start off public. I have switched to that. She just went in and took the script and started doing it in her VIP group to launch it. So I'm in stage 2 of the script. Like I updated it to do less giveaways, for example. And now I think I'm going to go edit it again because they get points for Stella Cash. I think I'm just going to give them points. So they have zero expectation of what they're going to get in the end. But yeah, no, it's just been super simple. We have one welcome letter pinned. We have one script pinned, and people are starting to take on to it. We're just talking about it and talking about the success of it.
Are you sending the welcome letter to people? Like, are you taking time to go message new people on your team, or they just go and they see it on your page?
Hopefully they see it there if they're being added. You know, if they ask a question and I know the answer is there, I just tag them back to it. But no, I have not sent it out.
I was debating on starting another like kind of welcome letter for my downline and just kind of introducing myself and doing that. But it is probably a good idea to do something similar on the Southern Charm page. Okay, what questions do you guys have for Sam? Like, I know y'all are all listening. Unmute yourself. Let's pick her brain. She really is like kicking some booty.
I think it was Charlotte asked earlier on the post maybe what I'm doing to grow my VIP group. And that kind of goes back to the online shows where I am constantly inviting them back into my VIP group. You can actually, in a group, suggest other groups too. So I'm inviting them in. I am texting them a thank you note for their order. I'm inviting them back in again. I'm just constantly directing people back to my VIP group and engaging there. And I think something to really think about now, I just did a quick little touch in my team, is we're getting ready to go into the fall selling season. So this is where August should be like pumping up our tires and polishing the bike and getting ready to go out and pedal hard. But this is the time that we should be sending our handwritten thank you notes to a day. This is the time that we should be sending prettier images in our thank you. There's little things that we need to be doing to start building that repeat buyer that thinks of us first when they're shopping in October, November, and December, because they're clearly during a pandemic only to be shopping online, which we've already seen year over year, 80% increase online shopping overall, not just Stella & Dot specifically. Well, that's just going to continue even more so. I went out shopping yesterday afternoon, 3 different places, and couldn't find anything to buy. A combination of their inventory and product was low. Nothing was very appealing. Like I went to Hobby Lobby, Home Depot, and J. Crew. All 3 were fails. Like, when does that happen? So people are clearly going to look at our website and like the options. So this is the time of year that we really need to be gearing up to go fast in the fall.
I love it. Sue, did you have a question? You look like you unmuted for a sec.
We can't hear you, Sue.
Oh.
Here I am. I was just curious, and I might have missed this because I just popped over to another call. What are you doing with this Stella Cash? What is that all about? Points and Stella Cash. I'm really intrigued by it.
Okay. I got that from Ashley too. She gives away Stella Cash all the time, and it's really just undefined what it is. Before I did Stella Cash, I was doing points, like entries, like tell us how you know the hostess and enter to win free shipping, right? Which is basically a Stella & Dot gift card. And then some people would, or I would do like sparkle stud, win a pair of sparkle studs, right? Well, it was costing me, depending on how I shopped it, with shipping and whatever, $25 for those sparkle studs, or in credits, or it was costing me money, right? So Stella Cash is whatever amount I want it to be based on how successful the show is. Okay, right?
That makes sense.
And Maya can go on that site show and buy a gift card for $6.95, and it counts as an order towards the hostess. I send all gift cards, which are Stella Cash, to myself. So I have the pin, I have the information, because I'll say something to them like, here's the information, it's available for this week while her show's open. If she doesn't use the $6.95, I've got it in my notes, I can use it again. But it's volume, it is an order towards the hostess. I learned this from Barbara, was to email them to myself and I use my iPhone notebook notes section. And if I go to gift cards, I have them all just noted there and who I gave it to. So I don't know. I like it because it counts as an order. It counts as some volume. I'd rather give $6.95 than a Starbucks card. I had a really good show the other day, so I gave a $20 or $25 card.
Okay.
I'm just not committing, and it allows me to give one versus, I'm just not committing until I see how good the show is. So
Yeah, that
I
makes
will tell
perfect
you
sense.
that I think the problem with saying Stella Cash Stella is it creates this idea that it's a big amount. And one of my girls got an objection to it the other day. Like, oh, well, I didn't know it was only free shipping. It's like, well, all you did was click yes a couple times.
Right.
Like, you're lucky
I
to
know.
have $7 for clicking yes a couple times. So in my opinion, it's a perfectly good value. I do think I'm going to less focus on Stella Cash and more focus on points, because I think people value points. So I'm going to go in and do like edit 3 on my script and change a lot of the Stella Cash to points, so they don't overvalue what they think the Stella Cash is, and they
That
put more
makes
value
sense.
on the points. And then in the end, I'm like, Stella Cash giveaway. I can say it up front. I just don't think I need to say it in every post. What we did on a recent edit was to go in and make things more engaging. Was you get points for responding to this, right?
A call to action. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So Stella Cash is just a gift card.
Okay, cool.
I do when I was doing some online shows earlier this year, I did a similar thing with the points, Sam, and I actually had been doing 2 giveaways, and I felt like that was working really well for my virtual shows. The first one was like for RSVPing, and I did a free shipping giveaway for that. And then I had points throughout the whole rest of it, and they also got like a larger amount of points for ordering. So basically, it was like they could only win if they ordered.
Yes.
And and I was just mailing retired samples.
Yes. And I was doing that for,
yeah, that wouldn't work for a new stylist, but
yeah,
I
was doing a swag bag.
Yeah, I wasn't like committing to a certain thing or amount or anything like that.
Here's the thing, a swag bag can be dollar store items. Like, that's what Ashley Toops does. She does unicorn pooping things, right? So a swag bag can be anything. It doesn't have to be retired items. I will probably go back to that, although I do like the gift card in general, especially after I end up spending, $6.95 to mail a bag or box of things. I will tell you, I don't know if you can see this. I have an image somewhere I can share, but on my calendar, I just have all the names of the people and hash marks of how they're responding. Then I have notes. So I think the problem with saying Stella Cash is they were waiting to shop to see if they got the Stella Cash. Again, another kind of new and learned problem. So I think I'll go back to the points and reward them. First person to shop type thing. First 3 people to shop get more points. So I did a quick little edit there. But yeah, in the end, it can be cheaper to give and more rewarding to give Stella Cash than it can be to mail a bunch of stuff. So.
And are you still doing the Zoom socials?
I've never done Zoom socials. I hate Zoom.
Your events are literally an hour online and just post it. Do you do Facebook Live still?
I do. So I just do it as, I schedule it like simple for the hostess. Like, I'm going to go live for an hour. I'd love for you to pop on for the first 10 minutes. It's key for you to, engage in the post. It's like having them in your living room. So if you could be there, that would be great. But I schedule them all out because I have a script. I can literally go in and put them in. And I do what's called pre-party, party, after party, right? So I keep it working as long as I need it to. But I don't really get, people don't have to say no, because they can come all day Tuesday and watch. There's not a set time. And there have been times I haven't gone live. I've just done a post saying I'm at the beach. These are all scheduled. Take time to look at them.
I have a question that's not about online shows, about leadership. So I feel like my biggest pain point and what I've been struggling with for like years now at this point is really getting my team to actually grow in terms of volume. And I feel like I've figured out some like good systems for success with sponsoring and getting them started and selling in their jumpstart. But then like I don't know what to do for like life after jumpstart. And I feel like like I'm just always constantly like treading water to keep at the same spot, but I'm never like making any progress.
So that's where I go back to basics, right? Like, So we do a lot of trackers on our team page. And they go back to the very basics of, show us your who do you know list, show us your open calendar when 100 of these are posted, or when right now it's every order counts, right? And they get entered to win type thing. But you've got to go back and start with the very basics of everyone who posts their who do you know list gets entered, gets entered, and have something enticing enough for them to do that. And then who do you know list, open calendar, and then reach outs, right? Reward them for every reach out. Like you might have to have let's how to relaunch your business type thing, if that's your goal with the people that are within your team. And to me, it is easier to bring, it's against industry standard. They say bring someone on new versus reviving someone. I'm like, wait a second. To me, that doesn't make sense, because they're already here and they're committed. We've given them a flexible business platform. Do they want to flex up right now? So it's easier to get, in my opinion, to go, I have a large first line, hundreds. I would be silly not to go back to them and say, is anyone interested in gearing up for the fall selling market, right? And if you are, let's go back to the basics of what you need. And I can go back and tag them in, basically the new stylist welcome letter. I'd be smart to maybe edit it for them. But bringing them back, and then it goes back to the basic accountability, which is why we've been doing some groups recently around, we did some golden goose sneakers, and you got points for doing your reach outs, and you got points for having sponsoring conversations. So it's basically, when people buy in, they're hold themselves more accountable for the actions, but I can also see who's taking action. I know, like Megan Hash, I think I saw her name pop up here earlier. Like she's got to be having crazy great success, because in those pacing groups, she was kicking ass. She was doing more than the rest of us. So you can tell who's going to have the most success by who's taking the most action, right? And Megan's like, can you please start another pacing group? I'm like, ah.
Are you doing that you're doing that mostly in group settings?
Yeah.
Everyone's got a question.
Hi. So 3 quick questions. One, that script that you created, Sam, will we be able to access it? Maybe not in the main team page, but maybe in the leadership page.
Sure.
So that's 1. 2, what do you think Barbara is doing differently or better, or what would be your the top 3 or 5 things that she's doing? Because to have 10,000 from your VIP page alone, that is significant.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm surprised nobody else asked, because I want to know what she's doing. And then what was the third question? I can't remember now. So we'll just go with those 2.
Okay, if you remember, let me know. Yes, I'll share the script. Let me go in and do a quick edit and get rid of some of the Stella cash and change them to points. And then what is Barbara doing? So because of Style Council Elite and the Sword, she's pacing with some heavy hitters and learning from them and sharing. And I would tell you, one of the things I think was a good volume driver for July, it makes me nervous we don't have it for August, was having a name your own price sample sale. So we all dug out our old samples, and when they named their price, $20 for the bracelet, responded to them messaging you. Tell you what, let me up the deal for you. Oh my gosh, Julie Canellos is calling me. So anyway, let me sweeten this deal for you. If you go shop the website for this value or higher, I'll send you this bracelet for free. So it was a new volume driver. I will always do my samples that way from now on. I mean, I get it. I like having the cash, but the reality is I'm just putting my cash back into more product anyway, which if I have them shopping on a link, that's going to earn me free product anyway. So I purposely directed them back. So selling the samples for the let me sweeten the deal. The reality is, like I was having this conversation with my husband, 9 out of 10 people, everybody said yes. 9 out of 10 people shopped for a lot more. Like if they'd offered me 30, they spent 149, right? And then they felt super spoiled to get the item in the mail. I was able to send a lookbook, it was more reasons to connect with them, right? And then The other thing I think she did really well, and also learned from these other top sellers, is to set up your mystery hostess and give the rewards back, right? So today I have to do a drawing to give away $653 in product. I focused on getting everybody to shop and redeem on a link that I honestly already front loaded. Like I was able to start with $40 because there was $300 in orders in there. And every time they ordered, I was able to up that number, right? And then I was able to follow up with them, knowing yesterday was the last day. Do you want to get another order in? So you have another entry for 650, 600 plus and growing. So now I get to give away 653, but I had lots of reasons to touch them and tag them back. So I think that is smart. Now, as a give back, I don't think you can do it every month. So the survey I have going off in my group today is, do you all want a bunch of bags for free, or do you want an ever skincare regimen for free? Right? So when they pick, I'm creating a link that I'm going to direct orders to, and somebody is going to be going for, a bag suite or an ever skincare suite type thing. So I'm going to focus on a product instead. So it's kind of a give back using the rewards, right? The other thing that I think is probably creates the most sales that's not in the way of a give back are the thank yous with the images. I've done them off and on. I think Sarah Field does it a lot, and Barbara does it a lot. I think Avril does it. The going in and tagging them with a thank you for ordering, and then putting really good curated images of the items that they bought. So the next person goes, oh, I want that. And again, you're engaging them back on your page. So remembering to do the thank yous. You can do it as one group one, if it's a couple little things. I don't like the days that I don't have orders. So those are a good day to go back and say, the most popular items this week, Kelly, Avril, and Shelly all got the getaway bag this week or whatever it was. So you can kind of rehash the week too. But it's bringing people back to your page constantly. And one of the reasons people buy, just psychology of people buying, is they buy because other people buy, right? Like when you see Jenny's cute skirt, do you go buy it also? Right? So when they see other people buying, it gives them the confidence that it's something they should want to.
It's funny, I've always done the thank you post on online shows, but not on my VIP page for general orders. So you do it on your VIP page for general orders?
Both. Mm-hmm. Even if the person's not in the group. But of course, having like this perk of they ordered and there's a reward, that's another reason I'm going back to them like, hey, have you found my VIP group? Your name's entered to win this drawing. You need to be there.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I love it. Okay, who else can think of something?
Well, just on what Sam just said, I have been working really hard on doing what Michelle has done really, really well. She's not in our team, but to get them to actually post the photos of their orders, to actually come live, either put like what I call a boxy, just take a flat lay of it, take a photo with them on it, because that gets them to come back and they feel really special too. So in addition to constantly tagging them, everybody that shops, everybody gets a shout out for me. But starting to get them to come in and share when their stuff come in as well, I've been picking up on that one. It's been getting better, and it really helps them re-engage and want to invite friends in and that sort of thing, because they feel it's like their space as well.
Mm-hmm. So they're doing Facebook Lives with what they bought?
Yeah.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Megan, did you have a question? I know you came on. Did you have something you wanted to ask?
For me, I look awful, so I ignore what I look like. I do. Sam, do you schedule out? So I saw that you have a planner, which has been a lifesaver, especially during all these shows. But do you schedule out on your VIP page for the week? So I'm going to post, because you're awesome about your posts. And as Charlotte was saying, like, you have so much engaging content that's not only directed at S&D, it might be directed at Peach or whatever. Do you plan those in advance?
I I think it's a great idea too. And I do like to spread the post out. So if I have 6 thoughts at one time, I'll put them all out, space them out a half an hour, but I get so antsy about that. I go and I publish now because you have to have the information now. So I do no scheduling. It's top of mind. And then somebody like Barbara comes in and takes it and makes it 100 times better on her page. So it's definitely not about perfection. Most of my posts I take from somebody else and just try to make them mine. But I'm definitely looking for the posts that draw the engagement. Like, I mean, who doesn't want a dog named Fritter with bunny rabbit slippers now? But that was just something I grabbed from someone else. I just kind of, so some people I think are hesitant about how much to post. I don't think you can overpost because you're so limited in what Facebook is going to show them. And we have nothing but happy stuff to post right now. So we're a good welcome distraction. And you kind of need to be there to give people that distraction right now because everything else is so icky. If you want to keep them on Facebook, I would say get up there and be in front of them as much as you can. So I don't have any limiting beliefs on how often or how much to post on Facebook. Like, I feel like it should be more versus less. I don't really have a shopping audience on other social media platforms, but if you do on Snapchat or Instagram, I'd be all over that too. I use Instagram kind of as a practice area. So I just feel like we have a lot of good stuff to offer, and I just put kind of what I'm thinking, honestly, because the reality is that's too is going to if you share your authentic self, that people are going to connect and relate most with you. So I have a stack of, I was cleaning my bathroom yesterday. So I have a stack of old bracelets of what I used to wear. And I've been sharing photos of my really bad style before Stella and Dot. And they're like that. Like, they're mortifying, awful photos that happen to pop up when I'm on the Peloton in the morning they're on my husband's photo stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to tell him to delete it. But instead I've just been using it to be like, see what Stella and Dot does, it makes you cuter. See what Ever does, it makes your skin better. Showing them the 10-year-old photos or whatever. So I don't schedule. I mean, I schedule, but I get antsy and I click publish now instead. So be organized if you can, be thoughtful if you can, but you don't have to be perfect.
We have only a few more minutes before we have to get on our executive call, and I'd love if you could finish with, because looking at this group on this call, every single one of you, I think, could very easily get to that executive level. Like Barbara and Amy and Sam and all these ladies have done, it's really volume. And a lot of you back in the day were star with close to this volume, or ADs or directors with more than this volume. Like, what's your biggest advice? And obviously I'm a huge proponent of getting to executive because of the bonuses. The bonuses are amazing. And obviously this new plan is all volume based. What would be your biggest advice for this crew to get that volume up to the 25,000 and hit executive?
Good question. I think it's probably the same it's always been, is you've got to go back to the people you know and engage with them, right? And offer what you have to them. And the more people you offer it to, the more volume you're going to have. If you need to do prospecting to meet more people, which is probably not any of you, maybe it's going back to old clients and say, we want you back, do an old customer bring back campaign or whatever. But I think when you're growing your customer base by having the virtual shows, that's the easiest way to create new volume and new potential ambassadors. So I think if you just go back to the basics and you offer virtual shows to 10 people, you'll book one. Offer it to 20 people, you'll book 2. If you offer it to 30, you'll book 3, right? And then just being consistent there. So one of my own personal problems is I do activity and I get so darn busy with it, I stop doing the activity, right? So I think that just goes back to having that accountability group. And did you, do 2 things today to reach out to 2 new people or 10 new people, depending on your basics. But it really is nothing. You got to do the basics before you can have the shows or the sponsoring or the volume.
Yeah, I love it. And that's my, it's funny when it comes to booking and selling. Well, no, I shouldn't say selling. I'm doing mostly selling through VIP, to be totally honest. But I have found that I have stopped doing the reach outs unless someone asks me really about the opportunity, which, oh my gosh, that's like so basic back in the day. Like I am going to start going back to the personal reach outs, especially right now with COVID. All of my mom friends who are having to figure out how to juggle homeschooling and things like that in the fall. I have so many friends who are having to scale back from their jobs, but really need the income coming in still, and just throwing out, you know, what this could be for them.
Well, and we've done the studies that are showing that our platform is more appealing than most. And I rep a couple other brands. Our platform is so much more appealing than the others. And I've always watched the whole industry. So, I mean, I think you have to do something that works for you, but it's those studies that home office is doing. And I was going to actually send a message in asking for more numbers and more stats, because I find that very interesting. They didn't say to the people, they didn't go to us. They went to an outside source of people, right? And they didn't tell them the company, but they said, if you had these things to share and sell, would it be more appealing than if you had these things or these things or these things? And the numbers were hugely, vastly better on our part. So, and I had someone say to me recently, she said, I just don't feel like there's space for me at Stella & Dot. Is there room, you know, like, is it too late? I'm like, oh my gosh, don't you feel like it's so much easier today and so much more rewarding today than it ever was? Like, it's for sure better timing. So when it comes down to it, is it good for their timing? Are they ready? Do they have a reason? And people have a lot of reasons right now, even if it's just a happy distraction, a welcome distraction. Or maybe they now have college tuition. Like they have all kinds of reasons that they need something like this in their life. Maybe it's just smarter shopping, cuter shopping.
And I think so much of it comes down to confidence too. I think a lot of us, our confidence was a little shaken when things changed, because change is scary and we didn't know what to expect. And so I think that has silenced a lot of us. So it was like such a breath of fresh air to get your confidence and your take on things. And I think that, you know, running all the numbers you ran, now we kind of have the confidence to go out there and be like, okay, this is actually the best plan out there, and they can actually make quite a significant amount of money doing it.
Yeah,
I have one quick question for Sam, and it's really about that. And I think that was the other thing. For me personally, it's truly just the confidence. It's like, I have to completely rebuild my business. So how am I going to help this other person do theirs? And I know intellectually we know their experience is not ours. Mm-hmm. But I have to be honest, and that's where I'm at. And I feel like unless I could wrap my head around getting my business back up to like at least cruising altitude, it's a confidence issue for me, honestly. Yeah. Like, how can I guide this person when I am literally on a daily basis trying to come up with stuff, you know?
Avril, could you just tell them that? Could you go to someone you want to do this with and say, you know what? I feel like I've kind of coasted, and my business brings me joy, but the reality is I want to grow. And I've never, what I'm seeing now, the numbers I'm hearing and the potential I'm hearing, I feel like this is the time to really dig in and push on the gas, but I want to do it with someone. Do you want to go do it with me and pace along and let's like go kick butt? Just take a moment and tell them where you are. Tell them how you feel about it and say, you know what? I would rather do this with someone. And if I had to pick someone, I'd rather do it with you.
Yeah, I totally, and just remember too, the energy a new ambassador brings. Like, I mean, I think it really is, you forget when someone is new and excited, that will just infuse you with energy and excitement. So while it's like, it's like the chicken or the egg, which one do you do first? I actually know from experience, and it's good reminder that Sam just said that having those new people with you will actually fuel you even more.
For sure. Yeah. And it's nice because when they're getting the free product credits and they're having success, it's like, you're going to tell your friends about this, right? And then they start, growing. Like I've got a girl who's two that are like, all right, main thing I'm doing this week is bringing someone along. And I have not had to push them. I just kind of hinted at it. So, but they're having, their success. So, and Avril, they're going to look at you and consider you a success, right? I think the one negative we have to being on video or virtual is people go, I can't do what you're doing. And that might truly be a fear. So I do think it is a little bit of what holds us back, which is one of the reasons I like doing the virtual shows, is those are people who have not seen me on my VIP group, right? And they've just seen the post really. So I think that's probably a really easy group to sponsor from. All right, I think we have a 1:00 call.
We do. All right.
Yeah, I
Sam,
have to go do a live.
that was amazing.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank
Bye,
you, Sam.
guys. Have a good one. I
Appreciate
love
it.
seeing all your faces.
Bye, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.